Hey everybody, so today's video is going to be another Archetype introduction series, and today we're going to be reviewing the Shard-Mech Archetype. It's one of the more hyped ones in the set. I personally am extremely excited about it. So without further ado, let's get into the core cards of the Archetype. So starting off, we've got Shard-Mech Shiru, Shard-Mech Buki, Shard-Mech Tsubasa. They also have a Augment Underground Mech Base, and then they have their boss monster, Mega Shard-Mech Titan Yugo. First, let's take a look at the three smaller monsters up top here. Shiru has the Guardian ability. He's a 1-cost. Shard-Mech Buki has target attack for 2 cost. He also reads when this card attacks a unit or is blocked, this card gets plus 500 this turn. That means if he attacks a unit, he gets plus 500, and then if he's also trying to be blocked, he'll get an additional 500, so he can actually go up to 2,000. Next we have Tsubasa, which is a 3-cost unit that has Brawler. Now, all three of these cards also share the Ruin ability, where if they are sacrificed or destroyed, they add another, well, they kind of scale up, right? So Shiru will grab Buki, Buki will grab Tsubasa, and then Tsubasa will actually grab Yugo, your boss monster. So very nice. You know, they have unique abilities and relevant ones. Shiru, obviously the least relevant, but it can come in a pinch. Buki is nice having target attack, and then also being able to add additional attack by going after units, making use of that target attack ability. And then Tsubasa has the Brawler ability, which I think is going to be really strong after Set 2 is fully released. So those are the three main units, you know, very simple, but also very good. So next, let's take a look at the Augment over here. This is Underground Mech Base. It says you can exhaust, discard 1 mecha unit from your hand, draw 1 card, then place 1 counter on it. Sacrifice this card with 3 or more counters, and then put 3 target Shard Mecha units with different names from your discard zone into play. So right now, the only Shard Mecha units we have are the 3 that you see to the left of the Augment. We don't know if they're going to add more in the future, but as of now, this card's okay. Being 2 costs is a bit of a bummer. Discarding a mecha unit is obviously good for Yugo to put stuff in the grave, and then it replaces itself. The only problem I have with this is Zephyr Crystal is real, and basically I don't think you're ever going to see 3 or more counters put on this card. So I don't think this card would be played for this archetype, to be honest. Now let's move on to the big guy. So the big guy is an 8-cost, 4,000 power unit. He's very costly to come out, but he does have the effect where you can expel 3 different Shard Mecha units from your hand or discard zone, rather than pay this card's cost. So coming into play for free is pretty nuts, and you can get him out very quickly. That's why a lot of people are hyped for this. There's a lot of mechanics that work around just sending cards to the graveyard quickly. His second effect, though, is once per turn, discard 1 card, and you can destroy a target unit or augment. So very powerful. You can destroy... the fact that you can also destroy augments is really nice. Yeah, this archetype's very, very straightforward and simple. There's not much to it. You know, they replace themselves and they have unique abilities. So it's very nice. The fact that it's colorless, being able to splash it into anything is fantastic. So now that we've seen all of the cards in the archetype, let's take a look at some of the direct supporters. The first thing we want to look at is trying to get the cards to the grave quickly so you can bring out the boss monster fast. So that means anything that mills. Shrieker, being able to send the top 3 cards of your deck to the discard zone is really nice. Granite Gargoyle, same thing, just by discarding it. You can really speed up the process of getting those Shard Mecha units in the grave to bring out Yu-Gi-Oh! And Argon, which is a consistent mill, is great. Also, if you mill your Yugo and you're playing Argon, you can just pay the 1 and put it back on the top of your deck. So that's also a nice little combo. On top of that, you want to make use of the Ruined ability as well. So cards like Treat, where you can sacrifice a unit and then send additional units to the graveyard, maybe additional Shard Mecha units. If you use Treat on Tsubasa, you can send Buki and then Shiru to the grave as well, so you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, essentially. You also have cards like Neutral Evil, which are originally a 2-for-1, but if you use it on your Shard-Mech units, it's actually a 2-for-2, so that's nice. And then you have Iton, which is kind of like the sacrifice aspect of Ergon, where Ergon's a consistent mill. Iton is a consistent sacrifice each turn, so that's very beneficial for the Archetype. Iton is very strong with that, being able to bring out higher cost air units by sacrificing off your Shard-Mech units and then just adding a Shard-Mech unit from your deck to your hand makes Iton's ability essentially free. And then on top of that, we also have just massive field wipes, like Finishing Ray, where it's usually detrimental to you, but if you have Shard-Mech units on the field, you're just getting pluses off of it. So that's also a very nice card to play with your Shard-Mech units. So next we want to look at cards that can benefit from being in the graveyard, or don't mind being discarded with Yugo's effect to destroy a unit or augment each turn. Cards like that consist of, Iton Righteous Outlaw, where he wants to be in the discard zone, so whenever you return 2 air units to your hand, he comes out for free. Other cards are like Pewter Gargoyle, where if it's in the discard zone and you discard something from your opponent's hand, it comes out for free. So that's also nice to put in the discard zone. Monarch Skydagger is probably your best target. Being able to consistently bring back an air unit each turn and bring this back to your hand makes Yugo's effect free every turn, which is really, really nuts. And then also, kind of like a wild card, is Silver Mist Phoenix. I don't think this card's super great, but the fact that you can discard it with Yugo and then pay 2 to bring it out, so you don't have to pay the original 3 to get this out is kind of a neat little interaction. So now that we've looked at all of the direct supporters, the big question is, what is the best way to play Shard-Mech? And as always, this is my opinion. So let me know in the comment sections below if I'm terribly wrong or if you have another way of playing it. But in my opinion, the best way to play this is mono air for a couple reasons. The big one is Iton can consistently sacrifice your Shard-Mech units to keep cycling through your deck. Thinning is winning. On top of that, it's pretty much free whenever you sacrifice those cards. Kite allows you to pitch dead Shard-Mech units in your hand if you don't want to summon them to the graveyard or discard zone to fuel your Yugo. And on top of that, the costs of the 3 Shard-Mech monsters are perfect for air. So with Shiru, it's a 1 cost, so that means whenever you're sacrificing it with Iton's ability, you can bring out cards like Sky Treehawk on your opponent's turn, and then next turn you can discard a card, return it to your hand, and draw 2, and untap 1. Also, if you need additional resources and you want to start attacking towers early, you can bring out Sandsea Traveler instead. And then with Buki, for the 2 costs, you have cards like Greathawk of Cloudsea, which is one of the best units in air. While you're also searching your Tsubasa after you sacrifice Buki. Or you can go into the new card in this set, which is Queen of the Sandsea, and take control of a unit that your opponent controls. So a little disruption on your opponent's turn. Or Ariana, Hope of Argos, which I think is one of the best cards in this set for sure. The fact that it has the Brawler ability and a Ruin ability that lets you search out one of the best cards in air is really great. The Brawler ability gets so much stronger in set 2 because of Reprobloom. And air has a direct out to it. And even if you play the Shard-Mech cards, you have Tsubasa on top of Ariana that have those Brawler abilities, or Buki that has the target attack to take out the Reprobloom without targeting it and having it create its tokens. But back to the scaling up. So those are the 3 costs, and then if you sacrifice Tsubasa with Iton, you can get cards like Nanatsu, which is one of the better cards in the meta right now, or one of the new cards in the set, Sandsea Drake, where if it arrives, it can return a card from that your opponent controls to the hand. That's only if, though, a card was sent from the field to the discard zone. So if you're using Iton's ability to send Tsubasa, Sandsea Drake comes out, and a card was sent from the field to the discard zone, so you'll get to return a card to the hand while also adding Yugo. So all of these things have a lot of good synergy. That's why I went with mono green. Running Airgon is obviously really great, and it's something that could work well with this archetype. The only thing is, I think Dark is better off focusing around its main cards instead of throwing in this archetype, because it's kind of a heavy archetype, like card wise. You got to run a lot of them, so that's why I went with that. So on top of all of these scaling up abilities, the added benefit is with Yugo, you get to run Monarch Skydagger, which I just said, with our direct supporters, it's essentially free. Air bounces so much, you're going to be getting Skydagger back for free all the time. So Yugo's ability to destroy a target unit augment is going to be free every turn. So that's why I went with mono green. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little something with this Shard-Mech archetype. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Zeppelin out.